Well, what an interesting Sunday of footy we had. We saw the emergence of possibly North Ball and finally coming to the table to be somewhat of a competitive side. What a start the North Melbourne had there. We saw a thriller between the Demons and the Saints, and we saw the Gold Coast Suns just flex their muscles, in particular Christian Petracca, off to a flying start in this season. Back-to-back best on ground and perfect 10 performances in the coaches' rows. So without further ado, let's review all of the Sunday action in the AFL right now. Let's go. Hello everybody and welcome back to the Up the Guts podcast. Joining as always is your host Trent D'Alton, and some of you might know me as Tricky, and yes, that's right. If you haven't already watched it, I did all the games from Thursday to Saturday night, and that would have been released yesterday. So if you haven't already watched that, make sure you go back and watch that after this as well. And if you are enjoying having the AFL season back and enjoying our videos, please guys make sure to leave a like and comment on it, as that's what the algorithm is really liking. Hit that subscribe button and turn the notification bell on so you're notified whenever we upload. We're trying to get to 400 subscribers as quickly as we can. But if you're an audio listener too, we welcome you as well, but please hit that follow button as we try and get back up over 100 followers on Spotify. And please, guys, remember to leave a 5-star rating if you enjoy the show, as well as that does help us reach out to newer listeners. But we're going to review all the Sunday action here first. But first, there is a little bit of news I want to touch on. So 2 pieces of important news that I want to touch on before we get into the Sunday games. The first bit of news is Scott Pendlebury. In 427 games, he's been suspended for the first time in his career and given a 1-match suspension for his hit on Josh Worrell. Now, he says he's braced, and I might be biased as a Collingwood supporter, but I do think he braced as well as a split-second decision. Now, they have formally said that today that they're going to challenge it. That was broken by Xander Maguire, that Collingwood are going to challenge this suspension. Now, it's going to be a test to see if the good character clause is still in it, because if anyone is valid and capable of getting the good character clause, it is Scott Pendlebury. 427 games, no suspension. He's going to break the games record in the AFL history. Only been fined twice, 2022 and 2024, or maybe it's 3 times and twice in 2024 or something like that. But 2024 and 2022 were times he got fined. But never has been suspended. So I actually do expect that he does get off this, not just as a Collingwood supporter, but as an AFL fan as well. I personally believed he braced, and I think purely because he has this such good record, he should have, if it's a 1 week, he should have a case to argue that, hey, I didn't, I've been good for this so long. Let's break the 1 week, and again, if it happens again, I'll accept my suspension. So they are going to challenge it, and I expect Scott Pendlebury to get off. What do you guys think? Let me know in the comments. And the other one that came out today was the extent of Errol Gulden's shoulder injury, and it's not good, as Errol Gulden is going to go in for surgery on his shoulder, which will put him out for up to 16 weeks. So 4 months out of it, which means he wouldn't be back until around about that finals campaign stuff. And the way the Swans are going, they will be there at finals time. With the top 10 finish, it does help with the wild card. But Errol Gulden is such a important piece of the puzzle to how the Sydney Swans play. We saw how much they struggled without him last season, and then when he came back in, I believe they were 6-2, it was 4-1, something like that. As soon as he came big, the Swans went on a bit of a roll, winning consecutive games. It's just his running capability, his work rate up and down the grounds at both ends, but his kicking as well inside 450 is what makes him probably Sydney Swans' most important, arguably Sydney Swans' most important player. It's either him or Heaney, in my opinion. So that's going to be a massive miss, but he should be back for finals. So fingers crossed the Sydney Swans continue this form and are there, and Errol Gulden will be there for finals. But not great news after all the time, most of the season that he missed last year. Hopefully this doesn't become like a Will Day type scenario where he keeps getting injured, because we know how much of a good player Errol Gulden and how valuable he is to that Sydney Swans side. And probably he's a top 10, top 20 player in the competition when he's fit and firing as well. So hopefully Errol Gulden after this can get his body right and play 200 plus games and doesn't have to one of those injury interrupted careers. So fingers crossed for Errol Gulden that he can be reasonably injury clean after this one. Right, so now we'll head over to the Sunday action of footy. And first, we started off at Marvel Stadium, 1:10 p.m. It was the Kangaroos hosting Port Adelaide. And the Roos are on the board in their first game. What a start. And they actually showed some really good class and won convincingly by 46 points. 17-11, 113 defeated, 9-13, 67. Larky in his first official game as captain shined in the forward line, kicking 4. I really do like the look of Cooper Trembath. I liked him when he played 3 games. It was over 3 or 4 games last year. It was either he kicked 12 and 3 or 12 and 4 games. But I really like the way he goes about it. Hits the packs hard and his work rate too. Just offers that support for Nick Larky. And it does allow Cam Zerha, who could have had an even bigger game. I believe he kicked 2 goals, 3. But he was a threat down there as well. Charlie Comben also played one of his better games and kicked a really good long bomb from outside 50. Obviously, we know he started his career as a forward. Didn't quite work out for him as a forward, but has gone back. And while he's been really good in points, has had some learning stages as well where he's made some errors. Forwards have kicked bags on him, but he's looking really good. So in the end, he had 18 disposals, 83% efficiency, kicked that goal, as I mentioned, 11 marks and 14 intercept possessions. Oh, excuse me. 14 intercept possessions. It was a great game there by Charlie Comben. Mitch Georgiades, I think, is starting to become one of the more exciting key forwards in the competition, or like that hybrid type of forward. He's so crucial to this forward line for the Port Adelaide. He kicked 3. Corey Durden in his first game in Port Adelaide colours kicked 2. Whitlock also kicked 2. Sheezer, which is all class and going across the ground. 31 disposals, 5 clearances, 5 tackles and 8 score robbers. And Dylan Stevens played the game, probably the game of his career with his probably contract on the line. Hasn't really shined since coming across from the Sydney Swans, but he was enormous. 29 disposals, 1 goal, 11 marks, and 9 score bombers. And I don't have him written down, but if we go over here, I want to find him. Luke Davies-Uniacke, LDU, was so powerful and big in stoppage type of situations. He had 24 disposals, 5 tackles, 7 score bombers, and 6 clearances. It was just his run and carry and his brutality in the stoppages where he really took it on. I believe it was his second or third quarter when he really shined. If we have a look here. Yeah, quarter 3, he had 8 disposals and a clearance, 8 disposals and a clearance to goal on there. So it was a good all-round effort by LDU. We mentioned how well we know he can be as a player, but just the consistency does hurt him sometimes. So it was good to see him dominate in those contested balls type of scenarios. As for Port Adelaide, no one really shined except the 2, Rosie and Buds, and even they had their colours lowered a bit. Rosie, 24. Butters tried his heart out, though. 23 disposals, 9 clearances, and 7 tackles. But if this is the way that North Melbourne want to play, I can see them winning 6+ games. They were exciting. They moved the ball freely, and they took the chances. They got it into the likes of Nick Larky, got it into Cooper Trembath, got it into Cam Zerha. We know Paul Curtis applies that forward pressure and hits the scoreboard. So if the Kangaroos can keep going like this, there's no doubt Clarko's coaching for his job, and this is an amazing start for North Melbourne. Is this the start of we see North Melbourne getting 6 to 10+ wins in? I know it's an early call, but how many wins can you see North Melbourne winning in 2026 if this is the way they play week in, week out? Let me know in the comments, because the way they played, they absolutely ripped apart Port Adelaide and just ran all over them. It was exciting footy. So how many games can you see North Melbourne winning in 2026? Let me know in the comments. Game of the round was no doubtly Melbourne v St Kilda. No one probably would have picked that. They thought it was going to be an interesting game, but I don't think they thought it would be this good of a game. And it was the Demons under new coach Stephen King who came away as 13-point victors, 18-12, 120, 15-17, 107. Van Rooyen absolutely dominated, kicking 5 goals in the first half and finishing the game with 6. It was really good to see him get back in dominating form. We saw what he was like in his first season, but hasn't really been able to play consistent footy since then. So it's really good to see him kick 6 and dominate with leading patterns and marking out in front. And it's a beautiful kick of the footy as well. Mychek in his new colours also kicked 2 for the Demons. As for the Saints, Max Hall was enormous. He kicked 4 goals. I'd love to see, I know David King touched on it on SEN's Fireball breakfast this morning. Love to see Max Hall play a bit more midfield time because he is their trump card or wild card, I think he went with, because he had 26 disposals at 92% efficiency, 4 goals, 6 clearances, 2 goal assists, and 13 score moments. And this guy was a mid-season pickup from Box Hill. Recruiters overlooked him, and somehow they were able to swoop in and get him as a mid-season pick. Now, if we have a look, centre bounce attendees. Only 2 centre bounce attendees. That needs to be 10 plus for Max Hall. He has the leg speed and the creativity when delivering the ball inside 450, and he hits the scoreboard. 26-4 is an enormous game for it's pretty much a small forward or a high half forward who only sometimes goes into midfield, and pretty much you'd say hardly ever went into the centre bounce this round. Now, Nasiah Wanganeen-Malira kicked 3. He was tagged in a surprising one by Colton Tholstrup, I think is how you pronounce his name properly. Tholstrup, we know, has that forward pressure when he plays that forward role. He's always not far away from a scrap when things get heated, hard at it, tackling pressure. So Stephen King sent him the task of playing on Nasiah Wanganeen-Malira and did reasonably well, other than when it was around the ground. When Nasiah took him forward, he did look a bit out of depth down there with allowing Nasiah to kick 3, but only kept him to 18 disposals. Other than the 3 goals, Nasiah didn't have much impact on the game. But the big question is, why did Nas spend so much time at full forward in the last quarter? He spent 13 minutes at full forward. And then why did he come to the bench 2 or 3 times? That is your match winner. He proven it last time you played Melbourne last season when he kicked, was it 3 or 4 in the final quarter, and was the reason that you won. He is your match winner. He is your best player on your team. Even though he's getting tagged, when the game is on the line, superstars find their way through it and find their way to break through it and chuck the team on their back and guide them away with the win. Nasiah wasn't even given the opportunity. He wasn't even thrown into the midfield. Now, Ross Lyon comes out and says, hey, it's up to him what he wants to do. But he's still only 22 years old, still only a young player, still developing his craft. Ross should have been like, right, the game is on the line. You are our best player. You are going into the midfield. I don't care you're getting tagged. You find a way through it, and you find a way to get us this win. That's what should have happened. It's still God-smacked me why he spent full forward is okay, but to the bench was like, what are you doing? It was really, really confusing and disappointing coaching move by that. I get it, Ross Lyon threw it back on the side saying we leave it up to him, whatever he wants to do. Does he want to go take the kick-outs, play at half back? Does he want to go on board? Does he want to go forward? At that type of scenario when the game's on the line, I think the coach should have the final say, especially with a 22-year-old, and go, no, this is what I want you to do, and this is what you have to do if you want this team to win the game. So I thought it was quite poor by Ross Lyon. Mitch Owens and Jack Higgins also kicked 2 apiece for the Saints. Disposal-wise, no one really got big disposals for the Demons. Salem led the way in his milestone game with 23. And Gawn, can we talk about Max Gawn for a minute? 35, do I want to say? Maxi Gawn, let me just get that up so I get that correct. 35, 34. I want to say 35. Max Gawn. Okay, 34. And he just ran Tom de Koning to the ground. Like, it was a really close battle for the first 3 quarters, but Tom de Koning didn't have the fitness to go with a 34-year-old Max Gawn, who said in his post-game interview, what was it? What am I trying to say? Oh, what he's always known for his career, one of his strengths in his running capability. So I don't even think he went to the bench. I think he played the full last quarter without going to the bench. And you don't see that as a ruckman. It was something like 95% time, even for the second half. You don't see as a ruckman. TDK couldn't handle it. It was pretty much neck and neck disposals and hit outs. It got to a point where Max just said, all right, young fella, try and keep up with me. And TDK couldn't. Max ended up dominating with 22 disposals, 38 hitouts, 1 goal, and 8 score involvements. And with that young Melbourne team, you'll sit back and go, that's my captain. There is no way that you are not inspired by that. And I have no doubt that has a big reason why Melbourne were able to pull through and get over the line. TDK was good, but in the end, he had 20 hitouts, 15 disposals, 2 goal assists, and 12 score involvements to, like I mentioned, to Max's 22 disposals, 38 hitouts, a goal, and 8 score involvements. So Max Gawn, in the end, dominated TDK. It's something that he'll have to go back and look on and go, geez, did I do enough fitness in the offseason? Or is Max Gawn are we underplaying just how much of an athlete Max Gawn is in this scenario? And with TDK, just unlucky the fact that it had to be Max Gawn. Winhager got off halfback and went more into the midfield this game, and again had plenty of the ball. 32 disposals at 88% efficiency, 6 clearances, and 13 score involvements. Sinclair had 31 at 87% efficiency, 7 marks, 8 interceptions, 8 score involvements. Flanders, 28. Hill, 27. Wilkie was enormous, 27 at 85% efficiency, 10 marks, 7 intercepts, 8 rebound 50s, and 8 score involvements. We also mentioned Max Hall. But it's a good start for the Demons under Stephen King, and the really hyped up and exciting prospect of what St Kilda could be in 2026. It's not all doom and gloom, but it's not the ideal starting 0-2. So how are the Saints going to respond in the next game? We'll have to wait and find out. But great start for Stephen King and his young Demons in 2026. All right, to round off the round, it was Gold Coast v West Coast, and there's not much to touch on this game other than Christian Petracca. My God, because it was the Suns by 59 points, 20-11-131, defeating the Eagles 10-12-72. I did love the fact that the Eagles didn't just roll over when they came out after halftime and kicked 6 goals in the third quarter. That was really, really good to see from a young side. But this one was all about Christian Petracca, who got perfect 10 in coaches' votes. He had 23 disposals, kicked 4 goals, 3 of them coming in the first quarter, 6 clearances, 8 inside 50s, and 14 score involvements. Christian Petracca is on massive Brownlow watch for me here after coming across to the Gold Coast Suns. Looks like he's loving the lifestyle away from the Melbourne bubble, and he's absolutely loving it. So Christian Petracca is on massive Brownlow watch. The fact that he's kicking well, back to impacting the scoreboard, and there was a couple of times I saw him just shake and bake and burst his way through stoppages, and no one really able to lay a hand on him. And we're just like, geez, that was the Petracca we knew about 3 years ago. That Petracca is back, but it might be even better, which is a scary thing to imagine. Anderson also had 34. The skipper, King just does what Ben King does. Doesn't leave the 50, stays there. Reliable mark and reliable set shot. He kicked 5. Lombard continued his really good first game with another 2 goals. As for the Eagles, Waterman kicked 3. And what a find Murdoch has been. I just want to get why I started. I wanted to get his first name. I think it's Million Murdoch. Don't quote me there. Let's have a look. Milan Murdoch, yeah. So he was just signed as an add-on. I can't remember what the exact term is he was signed, but he was only signed about a week or 2 ago for the Eagles and then debuted for them. And he looked really, really, really good. He had 22 disposals, kicked 2 goals, also had 8 score involvements himself. So he's an absolute find, I think, for the Eagles, one they can stick with and hopefully have some high hopes for. It's good to see Elliot Yeo back out playing some footy. We'll see how long he can keep his body right. We'll hope for a full season because he's really good there for the likes of Harley Reid for a helping hand. He kicked 2. As for disposals, Anderson had 34, a goal, 2 goal assists, and 11 score involvements. Jeffrey, and loving Jeffrey off halfback these past 18 months, 28, 8 score involvements. Alex Davies really finds some really good form. The back end of last year, he's carried it over to this season. 25, a goal, and 10 score involvements. Unfortunately, he could probably possibly be the first player that makes way for Matt Rowell, which is really unfortunate because he is playing some good footy. And Noble off halfback had 25 at 80% efficiency. We mentioned Harley Reid. He led the way for disposals for the Eagles, 23 disposals, 5 clearances, and 7 score involvements. And we saw a couple of don't argues. He looks fit. He looks ready to go. Another thing, I know it was against Cooper Duff-Tyler, spent a lot of time in the ruck. But Matt Flynn's an reasonably experienced player, mature player. Jared Witts had their way, absolutely dominated the both of them. Jared Witts, 51 hitouts, 20 disposals, 1 goal, 7 clearances, and 8 score elements. That is huge for someone people questioned with the likes of Jared Witts, who's arguably the best tap ruck in the competition. Would the new ruck rules not favour and put him out of favour as one of the better rucks in the competition? Well, it doesn't look like, because compare those 51 hitouts to Matt Flynn's 8 hitouts and Cooper Duff Titleist's 5. Now, we let Cooper Duff Titleist slide first season, second game, but Matt Flynn needs to be much, much better than that. Jared Witts absolutely walked all over them. But yeah, the Gold Coast Suns, again, just flexed their muscles. But as I said, it was good not to see the West Coast Eagles just roll over and let this get well over 100-point thrashings. So that is a positive sign for the West Coast Eagles. Well, there you have it, guys. That is the full wrap-up of the round 1 action in the AFL. Again, there was only the Sunday games. If you haven't seen already my Thursday all the way to Saturday night recaps to all the games, make sure you go ahead and watch that as well, or listen to it if you're an audio listener after you finish this. But that's going to do it for today, guys. If you are watching this on YouTube, please make sure to leave a like and comment on this video, as the likes have really been boosting the algorithm lately. So please make sure you do that. Hit that subscribe button and hit that notification bell so you're notified whenever we upload. If you're an audio listener and listening to this via Spotify and Apple Podcasts, make sure to leave a like and comment on this episode. Hit that follow button, turn the notification bell on so you're notified whenever we upload. Share this off to a mate who's a diehard footy fan. And please, guys, remember to leave a 5-star rating on the show. That does help push the show out to newer listeners. Thank you guys for watching and listening along. Until next time, I'll see you guys then.